Hi everyone, welcome to episode 10 of the Charnwood series for the P51 in DCS World. This episode is set on the 9th of July, 6 in the morning. Overnight, what's changed from where we left off was that the Canadians have advanced a little bit, capturing Cussy and fending off a German Panzer counterattack. And then overnight, a large number of German units were seen leaving the area, travelling south away from Caen. It seems that a lot of their heavy equipment has been withdrawn. The Germans still do have a major presence there. The 3rd British Division has now entered Caen, and the main stalling block has been the damage to it. The several days of bombardment, the massed air raids, have turned the city into rubble, and so the British are having trouble just getting through the rubble more than they're having trouble dealing with mortars and snipers and so on. So for us, we are being given another armed recce, surprise, surprise. This time we are looking to cut the road and rail south of Caen, basically along where the Germans were retreating. And so we've been given this very interesting route to go from Carburg, then go south and follow the rail lines through Fleurs all the way down to Domfort. This normally wouldn't be too difficult, but if you see the big yellow circles there, those are the areas that we know enemy flak is in. You might see that our route has essentially been drawn straight along their flak lines. So I was pretty nervous going into this. This does not seem the best route, but I was going to follow it anyway. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump to it, to where we find the first of those aforementioned flak cannons. So here we are just after leaving Carburg, and we've got Caen off to our right there. And pretty shortly we encounter our first air defense. Just see it lighting up down below there. So I wasn't surprised with this, and so I've decided just to go for it, head down low and start clearing these out. There's really no way we could follow the route without encountering flak. Cloud cover's so low, if we do try to avoid the flak, we won't see anything and the whole armed recce would be pointless. So I've decided that part of our mission is just going to be to clear up some flak batteries. We get some good hits there, take out one flak battery straight out and damage another. I'm just sticking really low here, trying to make it hard to hit any of us. A few minutes later, we are still trying to cross Caen. This is Rail Depot at the southern end of Caen, which is obviously very heavily defended with more flak batteries. And so we just repeat the process. I'm just trying to duck as I see the shots coming in. We do have about a second to get out of their way before the rounds hit home. I'm here taking more fire, this is just a little bit later, and this time I don't have a good sight of the flak, so instead I just change direction and turn along the rail instead. So here we are further down the line, and I see these trucks, or train trucks, just along the rail. I go in for them. They don't look anything too interesting, just the normal box wagons. They do at least get destroyed very, very quickly by 50 mils, 50 cal even. I immediately start to go evasive here. There's a lot of AAA in the area. I don't really think it's worth clearing up any of the surviving rail lines there, so I just keep low, keep going, and leave the flak be. As we approach Fleur, I do see this little site up ahead in the clearing, which seems to have multiple vehicles parked there, and AA, sure enough, starts to go up. So order in my wingman, and turn around and get ready to start making passes at this target. As I'm looking around, I can see other AAA in the area opening up on us. Very heavily defended area, and so we need to be careful, but does at least mean there's going to be a lot of targets for us to start picking apart. So here I'm rolling in on the first group that I've seen. My initial priority is to take out that AAA battery defending it. After that, should be quite easy. So as always, I'm just keeping my approach a little bit erratic, dodging as I see the fire coming up, and firing to try and damage the target, get a couple of shots in, but not all that great, and then keep low as I'm pulling out. This is my second pass here, coming in from the opposite side. Again, the AAA is focusing on me, but I am managing to dodge it. Sometimes very, very near thing, but I am dodging it each time. That nice big explosion there was the flak 38 finally giving up the ghost. So now the target is no longer defended by flak, and so I feel comfortable going in for a bombing run. The cloud cover here is again really, really low, so I don't have the altitude to line up a nice accurate bombing pass. And so I have to do a low one, get near the target, get a couple of splash damages, and alarm the vehicles more than anything. But at least it gets rid of my heavy bomb load. Well, as I was getting away from the target, see another flak battery opening up here, and decide that this is worth targeting. Then trying to jink, trying to avoid the incoming fire, or pouring on some offensive fire of my own. Again, get a decent hit, but not quite enough to finish off that battery. I turn back to this group of vehicles, which is now undefended, and decide that this should be my focus rather than the random AA that's scattered around. So start strafing this group of trucks here. Already my guns are getting a bit low on ammo, used up quite a bit on the multiple passes, and a fair bit just getting to this position in the first place. So I try and conserve my ammo, taking my time with each pass. And I do notice that there are some fuel trucks on the train line here, and so open up on those, set two of them on fire, and then I start lining up for another pass here, so I can see that there's two that are not damaged. What I wasn't quite anticipating is the force of the explosions. You can see one of the explosions just going off there. There's a turn back in. Get another explosion occurring. And as I look closer, I see that those two explosions have set the remaining two fuel trucks on fire, so instead I use this pass to hammer at the regular wooden wagons there. So it's something I need to bear in mind. All I need to do is hit one of the fuel trucks in a line and it'll set off a chain reaction. As I try and go in on another pass on the trucks, my guns finally run out of ammo entirely. I do loiter in the area since my wing have some ammo left, but they don't manage to do anything further, so I just return home. And as I'm climbing up to cloud level, this happens. So, well above clouds here, but the enemies seem to have taken a pot shot and hit me rather hard. So, taking out my radio in one hit. See, my right wing there has taken some damage, and my left wing is an absolute mess. Look around, trying to check my control surfaces, check whether there's any further fire, Then all of a sudden I notice there is a massive hole in my left wing, and sure enough, my left fuel tank is more than half drained, so I quickly change over to the right one. You can see from the external view here where the 20mm gun is just slammed through. I really do like the detail here. You can see where it's slammed through. You can also see where the cockpit has actually protected some of the right wing from the shrapnel that came out the exploding round. Now at this point I notice my engine is massively overheating, and at the same time my oil gauge has hit 0. So it's not just a fuel leak I had, but the oil leak as well. I try and dive to cool it down, but at this point it's a little bit too little too late. Do have a nice large amount of altitude here, but there's really not too much that I can do to keep this plane going. And sure enough, the engine cuts out. But I did have enough altitude to drift over friendly lines and make it to the airfield. That's our airfield just there off our 10-11 o'clock. And I've managed to keep pretty much enough energy, so I do make it onto final approach. I can't give any orders for my wingman, so he's just happily following along. Don't have radio at this point. Do try and lower the gears here as I'm coming in, trying to balance things. I know I've only got one shot at this landing, and just as I'm approaching, I look down and see that the gear light is still red, so it's not locked, and so I must have had a hydraulic line hit as well. I do try and raise the gear, that's a bit pointless. Without hydraulics, it's not going to do anything. So I'm not sure if my gear are up or down here. Thankfully, they do seem to be down, although the left one does seem to be a bit lower. And as I look behind, I see sparks, so I think that the left tyre is gone completely. I do bring it to a stop, get it off the runway, quickly turn everything off to finish off where we are, make sure there's no fires, and hurriedly open the canopy. So, all in all, our flight got 22 ground kills. For me, myself, that was 3 flak guns, 7 wagons, the sort of boxcars, 6 total fuel tanker train trucks, and 2 Opel Blitzers. So a pretty good haul, and importantly I made it back, not in one piece, but I made it back. Do believe I'll be having words with whatever genius in HQ designed the mission route to just run along enemy flak lines. But it was quite interesting, quite fun, especially the early part, running low through the flak. Had a lot going for it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. If you do, as always, a like, subscribe, comment, that all helps the channel. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have fun. Cheers.